I took to Twitter and Facebook to ask you what you wanted my Thursday 300 topic to be. And yes, I know it's Friday morning. Shut up. And Danye Todd was the winner. He wanted me to talk about the utilization of part-time wrestlers by the WWE. And that's what I'm going to do now. It's a good topic. Thank you, Danye Todd. So, when we talk about part-time wrestlers in the WWE, it seems to be something that is of great consternation to a lot of fans of the WWE and a lot of the marks in the locker room in the WWE. Notice the distinction there? Because there is a clear and present distinction. Now, as far as the marks in the WWE locker room that sit there and get mad, let's say somebody like a Dolph Ziggler, who sits there and bitches because The Rock is brought in or Dave Bautista is brought in. Just using this as an example clearly. But if you got so mad about this because the WWE is bringing this guy in and they're bringing that guy in, you can point to the WWE's own fault. But deep down, maybe isn't there a reason that the WWE feels like they have to bring back a Batista, that they have to bring in an Undertaker every year at WrestleMania, that they had to bring back a Rock to be a part of 3 straight WrestleManias? And wouldn't part of that reason be is the failure of the guys on the active roster to get themselves over as big enough stars to be able to necessitate not having to bring anybody in? You know, this is kind of standard business world shit right here. The employees aren't doing as good at their job as they should be, and as a result, there might be things out of their control that could be better, and I'll grant you that. But instead of focusing on the things they can control, they focus on everything else. Instead of taking a look at what they are doing themselves and seeing how they can improve themselves and how they can make themselves look better and rise above their situation. A guy like Dolph Ziggler, you've been given a lot of television time over the years, a lot of opportunities, a couple of major pushes. If you had gotten yourself as over as you needed to, and you had succeeded as well as you needed to, maybe they wouldn't need to bring in a Batista. Maybe they wouldn't need to bring in a Rock. And other guys like you. Maybe so many of these other guys that sit there and pretend to bitch about their spot and not like their spot, but deep down they don't want to rattle the cage because they want to keep their spot, whatever it is, because at least they get to be on TV once in a while. They get a little bit of money to do it. Bonus. Oh my God. And then we get to the whole thing. So, bottom line is, the WWE brings in these part-time performers, if you will, because they need to. Partially because of their own failures to create new stars, but also the people, the marks on the roster that fail to get themselves over as stars at the same point in time. That's why they have to do it. And for the fans that sit there on the outside looking in and sit there and want to knock the WWE for bringing in these part-timers, if you were in Vince's spot, you would do the same fucking thing. You would do everything you can to make sure that your Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania pay-per-view drew as much money as it possibly could. Wouldn't you? Isn't that the name of the game? Isn't it a business? Isn't it the business of making as much money as you possibly can? So if The Undertaker, let's say, or The Rock is going to help increase my WrestleMania buys by 10 or 15%, why in the hell would I not do that? Because somebody like a Dolph Ziggler or a Zack Ryder or a Seth Rollins or a Big E Langston sure as hell isn't going to get that done for me this year or in the previous years. A guy like The Rock or The Undertaker is going to do that. And I also find it very funny how we have in the internet wrestling community a selective kind of outrage for this. When somebody like a Y2J comes back and he's clearly a part-timer, oh, that's fine. When an RVD comes back and he's clearly a part-timer, that's mostly fine. But when an Undertaker comes back, somebody who's earned the right to only have to work once a year at WrestleMania, who elevates people when he's given the opportunity to at WrestleMania, you sit there, oh, he just needs to retire. You bring in The Rock, and he's a part-timer. He's a movie star. He's somebody that gives you all types of mainstream exposure you're not getting from people on your current roster, except for Daniel Bryan and maybe John Cena. Oh, but that's a problem if he comes in. Why? Because he's not your type of performer? Because you don't like him? Because he's not your type of wrestler? He doesn't do the type of stuff that you like? You'd rather root for the guys like the Y2Js and the RVDs? At the end of the day, what clearly is the fucking difference between a Rock coming in and doing what he did and a Y2J? People were pissed off because Rock got handed a title opportunity and won the belt at the 2013 Royal Rumble. But yet I remember there was the same damn outrage about Chris Jericho not winning the Royal Rumble in 2012 when ultimately he's a part-timer. People are bitching about Batista. He's just as full-time, if not more full-time, than Jericho's been the past few years. So what's with this selective outrage? And what's with the marks in the WWE locker room not understanding that this is a business? And maybe, just maybe, if they want to prevent these part-timers from being brought in the future, maybe they could do a better job of getting their own damn selves over.